What is your level of involvement or any personal interactions that you've had with refugees or a refugee community in Australia?
Okay, well, the church that I go to is affiliated with a company or a charity called UNO, and that's United Neighbours of Hope, and they assist refugees with filling out paperwork, helping to find housing, schooling, and it also helps them with some basic English skills, and because English isn't their first language usually, they need help with filling out the piles of paperwork.
And have you had any involvement with those?
Yeah, I've helped with some English classes, just basic English conversations and things like that, and I have worked for a government organisation that assists refugees, so just with the paperwork, because a lot of it they don't understand because it's so complicated.
Of course. What reason do you believe that refugees are leaving their home countries and starting their new lives in Australia?
Well, for the refugees that I've known and been involved with, many have come from war-torn countries where they're no longer able to live where they live. They become displaced, and so they then take the opportunity to come to Australia to have a better life and start again somewhere where they're safe and there's not wars going on all around them. So, yeah, so generally from Iraq and Syria and Afghanistan and some places in Africa, and other places in Africa as well. So.
Do you believe that refugees are correctly represented within the media?
I don't think so. I mean, currently there's a lot of misrepresentation of refugees. I think at the moment a lot of the news you see like, say, there's games going on and whatever, like say the Apex game, which...
Do you believe that refugees are correctly represented within the media?
Often not. Sometimes they are, but I've just forgotten what I was going to say. I think there's a lot of misrepresentation of refugees, and I think especially from the African community. And I think there's a misunderstanding of people who have never been in a situation from countries that they come from. You know, a lot of these people who appear to be involved in gangs, often that's the only lifestyle that they know, and they've come from areas that are very different to where they're placed in Australia. So it's not only have they come to a strange place as a refugee, it's also learning the culture of the place as well. So I think sometimes the media can take a particular story and perhaps sensationalise it. I think there's a lot of refugee people and people from refugee backgrounds who are amazing citizens and contribute a great deal to our community.
So in saying that, would the media influence maybe the public's attitudes towards refugees?
Absolutely, and I think you only hear the bad news. You know, it's very rare, maybe just after the weather, on the news you'll get a snippet of this person's done whatever. But yeah,
impacts.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, and you know, there's a lot of people like Ando from a refugee background. He's, you know, gone on to do amazing things. There's people like Richard Pratt, who was from a refugee background as well, and he known for being in the Visi company, but he was also quite a big entrepreneur and gave a lot of money away and supported refugees a great deal. So it'd be nice if they were represented better.
Given that refugees are beginning a new life in Australia, what do you believe their greatest needs are?
Okay, well, compassion and opportunity. I think it's very hard to have an understanding of what people have been through, you know, coming from the places that they've come from. So I think having a little bit of a compassion and understanding, or try and understand their backgrounds, and I think, you know, giving them the opportunities to learn. Like some of the challenges are like, you know, they're finding housing, language barriers, you you know, racism and discrimination, the attitudes of people within the community, and that can be also skewed a little bit by the media representation, like we've already talked about.
Yeah.
You know, and the distance and the lack of communication with their families and people that they've left behind.
So they'd be needing counselling services.
And say financial difficulties.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they may not be skilled to do particular jobs. So, you know, training and you know, financial support, because if they're not able to work, then they're not able to fund their families and pay their bills and whatever. And also, the physical and the psychological things. So I think it's really, really important that that the mental health is cared for, because that often is a bigger issue that's hard to address.
Mm-hmm.